Alright, so today we are going to be checking out the BetaFPV Hexacharger Pro, and this is essentially a 1S charger that is meant for you to replace these not so convenient charging blocks that is included for free. And in this video, same drill, I am going to be giving you a quick walkthrough tutorial to show you how to use this from scratch, how you can charge your battery, how you can store a charge, and how you can set it up. And in this video, we are also going to be comparing it against the old king, which is going to be the Whoopstor V3 from Wi-Fi. So you can kind of know what is the difference, and should you be upgrading from the Whoopstor 3, or which one should you be getting if you're just completely starting from scratch. Let's get right into it. Before I begin, if you can, please help me like and subscribe, as this is going to keep my content flowing. Thank you. Before we start the tutorial, I just want you to know that for the Hexacharger series, there is going to be two editions. One is going to be the standard and one is going to be the pro. So the difference is only going to be the charging speed of these two. The standard takes about 24 watts and this one goes up to 78. So it's basically 3 times more, kind of. So yep, if you wanted to use this one, also important to know that you are required to have a 100-watt charging block as a recommendation. But yes, just to let you know, the 65 watt or something or above, it's also going to work. Maybe 45 is also going to work as well. Just know that when you're selecting your current output, it is not going to give you the max current. It's going to give out the max current based on the charging block you are able to provide. So if you're going to get the two, it's only $5 different. I will strongly suggest you get the Pro because yeah, you will have the options to get more power if you need it. Now let's walk through the setup process and charging process together. So yep, you can see right here, the only power source that you are able to do for this one is going to be the USB-C. So you just have to plug it in. You don't have other choice. So yep, after it's plugged in, you can see it's been powered on. And here you're only going to have 2 buttons for the control. So the functions is going to be like single tap or long press. So you can see that on the right one, if you single press right here, this will allow you to adjust the ampage right here. Let me actually make it bigger. Okay, so you can see that, yeah, you will be able to adjust up to 3 amps per the current block that we plugged in. And if you decide to the long press, yeah, you can see that it's going to mute. So when you're pressing the buttons, there's no more sound. I tend to turn it off because I just find that that's quite annoying. So the left one, modes, it's going to be, yep, you have your charging mode, so you will be able to select LiPo, which the max charge voltage per cell is going to be 4.2, high volt LiPos, which is going to be 4.35, and you also have storage, which you can put your battery on storage if you're not planning to use it for more than 2 days or something. Okay, so now let's actually just put it on LiHi because yep, most of our 1S is going to be on LiPo high volts. Okay, so next let's look at the charging ports. So you can see that standardly you're going to get a PH 2.0 plug and also a BT 2.0 plug. So just know that each one of this is going to be 1 port. So just make sure you don't plug in 2 batteries like at the same time. You can only plug either one. Just make sure you know that. As for which batteries they support, for the PH 2.0 plug, you will be able to plug in obviously the PH 2.0, or you will be able to plug in the NX69, which is going to be the newbie drone new type of battery type of plug that they're developing. As for the BT 2.0 plug, obviously you can plug in the BT 2.0 or any A30 plug, so they are just cross compatible. So just wanted to let you know, so as long as you can find these plug heads, you will be able to use this to charge your battery. Just make sure it's 1S because I know some 2S batteries are going to be using those kind of smaller plugs, so just make sure you don't do that because yep, you might accidentally blow up the battery. So to quickly operate this, just know that you are free to mix and match any type of plugs together or any like capacity of the battery. So 500 or 300, it's totally going to be fine. So you can plug in a BT 2.0 right here. You can plug in a, let's say this is an NX69 on the top and less capacity. And this one is going to be BT 2.0. Okay, and then you can also mix an A30 on the bottom. Okay, right, so once you have plugged in the battery, you can see that there is going to be a readout at the bottom. This is going to be the current cell voltage of each of your batteries. So yep, you can see that these 3 batteries are pretty healthy. This one is going to be the only A30 I have, but it's actually dying. You can see that it's only 2.11 volts. We can potentially charge this up to try to save it, but yeah, this one is good as gone. So I'm probably just going to dispose it just for safety purpose. So set up the charging current, which we're talking about is going to be the amp right here. Yeah, 3 amp is going to be the max current that you can charge these super fast. But the best recommendation and best practice is always to charge it probably at 1C or up to 2C for the most safety. So way of calculating is using your mini amps and divided by 1,000, and that is basically going to be your 1C. So if it's a 550, you divide it by 1,000, it's going to be 0.5. So 0.5 is somewhat going to be your 1C. But since like these are 1S batteries, it's less risky. So yeah, if you want, you can still charge it up at the max power. Just make sure you stay with it to ensure safety. All right, so once we have plugged in everything and the setting is complete, you can just press start. So it's going to start. You can see that it's all going to be turning blue. So if you wanted to stop the charging, just long press, it's going to stop, or just unplug the battery. It's going to be doing the same thing as well. All right, so we will be continuing the charge. Just know that, yeah, this footage is a brand new footage because I lost my previous one. So you're going to see different batteries on the charger, but it's going to be the same thing. Okay, so during the charging, make sure you stay with your charger. Don't go away because, yeah, LiPo fires are no joke, and most of the problem happens when people are not looking at their charger. So yeah, just make sure you stay with the charger in the entire charging cycle. Once we're getting closer to the max voltage per cell, you can see that the charger is going to be limiting the current coming into the battery. It's like automatically reducing so it doesn't get overcharged. Especially when you pay attention right here, you can see that the middle one is almost done. And yeah, we have 0.0 amps at the moment. So you can see that it's just automatically reducing to prevent overcharge. This is going to be a function that you should want to look for on all the chargers you have. Okay, so we're going to be speeding this up 10 times so you can see the entire process of how the charge current is reducing. Okay, so once the charge is all completed, you can see that it's going to be turning green, and yeah, that's an indication that that particular battery is done. You can just unplug it if you want to, and the rest of the battery that is not finished charge is going to be continuing charging. All right, so now you know how to charge. Now let's talk about how to store a charge. So let me grab a battery. So you can see that we're going to be using this one that was just charged up earlier. So you can see that when we plug it in, your max voltage is at 4.34 at the moment, but our target voltage is going to be at 3.85. So when you press start, it is actually going to be start discharging it. So you can see, yeah, you are start at max 64 watts of discharging, and it's only 0.4 amp per, like, this is the fastest it goes. So just know that when you are discharging your battery, the way of dissolving the additional voltage is by heating up the internal chip or something, internal like board, just to use heat to dissolve it. So just know that your charger is going to be hot. And this step generally takes a little bit longer. So my recommendation is generally, yeah, try to burn it off with your Whoops or something that might be actually faster. Okay, so next let's talk about another scenario. We're going to be using this bad LiPo since it's lower. So currently your charging voltage is at 2.8. So when you press start on storage charge, it's actually going to be adding voltage. It's going to charge up. All right, so this is basically going to be the two type of scenarios that you're going to be running with storage charge. But now let's do an additional exam. So let's plug this in. This one has to charge and this one has to discharge. So let's see if it actually recognizes it. Okay, storage charge, let's press it. Okay, so you can see that the charger is pretty smart. You will be able to identify this particular cell that requires to be charged up, and this required cell is required to be discharged. Also, with this indication, you can know that when we are discharging the battery, it's still going to be using the heat to dissolve. It's not transferring the power over. So yep, quite interesting, but at least there's this function to recognize. So this is a very important safety feature. All right, so that concludes the tutorial of the Hexacharger Pro. Now let's actually compare it against the Wi-Fi Whoopster so you can see what is going to be the difference. Okay, so physical tests, basically you can see that the tall, as for height wise, you can see that the Wi-Fi Whoopster seems to be slightly taller. You can see that, yeah, a little bit taller. And if you're going to be looking at the side, yep, there are going to be the Wi-Fi, it's going to be a little bit thicker, and the Hexa, it's going to be a little bit thinner. As for the power up method, this is probably going to be the determinant factor for either war. You can see that the Hexa, it's only able to be powered up using a USB-C, and the Whoopster has USB-C, XT60, and direct input. So this is going to be a lot more featureable one that if you wanted to use this as a field charger, this might be actually a better choice because you have more options. Okay, so looking at the charging ports, they all have 6 ports. PH 2.0, BT 2.0, PH 2.0, BT 2.0, so no difference right here. Same two buttons, one to start your charging and also to let you set up your current, set up your voltage, and to mute. Same thing goes here. Okay, so the biggest difference is probably going to be the screen. Let's actually power both of them up. They are both colorful, but you can see that the BetaFPV one is obviously going to be the nicer looking one. Bigger screen, much nicer phones. This one a little bit more mechanical, I will say, just not as good design. So the Hexacharger offers 3 charging modes. So you have LiPo, you have Lehive, and you have storage. So only one storage. But looking at the Whoopstor, you have kind of 4. So you can see that, yep. You have storage 1 is 3.8, 3.85, 4.2, and also 4.35. You kind of have to know where you're charging in order for you to set it up. There's not as straightforward as the Hexa. For the current, this is probably going to be the biggest benefit of the Hexa Pro is going to be you will be able to set it up max up 3 amp, which is huge for such a small charger. Looking at the Whoopstor, the max ampage that you will be able to charge as current is going to be 1.3 amps. Yep. So for power wise, the Hexa Pro is going to be double. All right, so as for the charging experience, both charger are fairly good. Just one is faster, one is a bit slower, but for one S LiPo battery, it is still good enough because 1.3 amps generally cover most of the LiPo ampage for you to charge at generally already 2C already. So really, there isn't much need to go with a higher ampage unless you really are looking for the highest charging current. And also, since I never tested, but I just was curious, I also tested the storage function of the Whoopstor to see if it recognized a higher one and a lower one. So yeah, here's going to be the test result. All right, so testing the storage charge function, one with the max charge voltage and one with a lower voltage to see if it actually recognizes it. So you can see that it does recognize it. The one with the full charge is discharging at 0.3 amps. Also using heat to dissolve. As for the 830 that is currently under the storage voltage, it is charging at 1.1 amp to 1.2. So yep, it does recognize it. All right, so after all the comparison, here is going to be my conclusion. So yes, if you are going to be a brand new pilot that is starting up with 1S flying, yeah, getting the Hexacharger Pro is probably a no-brainer. Just go with it. But if you have a Whoopstor 3, yes, and upgrading the Hexa Pro isn't really necessary because this is still going to get your job done really well. All right, so that basically wraps us up the short tutorial and comparison video. So if you have additional questions or is there anything that I missed that I didn't compare that you also have questions, please feel free to leave it down below at the comment section. I'll try my best to get back to you. All right, so happy flying and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.